A Georgia woman was arrested after she allegedly shot at multiple cars while traveling on Interstate 10 in North Florida. 22-year-old Taylon Celestine is charged with attempted murder, aggravated battery, and improper discharge of a firearm during a shooting spree in Holmes County. The woman reportedly checked out of a hotel and told the staff that she was going on a shooting spree directed by God in relation to the solar eclipse. She then headed to Interstate 10 in a Dodge Challenger and within 5 miles fired multiple shots into 2 cars, hitting one driver in the neck. That driver was hospitalized and is currently receiving treatment. Authorities located her about 10 miles west of the second shooting near the Ponce de Leon exit. She was taken into custody and troopers reportedly recovered an assault rifle and a handgun from her car.
A Los Angeles influencer who allegedly killed her boyfriend and daughter is at the center of a murder investigation, and police say the recent solar eclipse may have played a role in the tragedy. Danielle Johnson, who offered online self-help and healing sessions under the name Danielle Aoka, allegedly killed her partner in their Los Angeles home before pushing her 2 children out of a moving vehicle hours before the April 8th astrological event, the LAPD says in a press release. Law enforcement sources tell the Los Angeles Times that investigators believe the eclipse may have been a factor in their tragic deaths. In the early morning hours of April 8th, Danielle and her boyfriend, Jalen Allen Cheney, became involved in a physical altercation at their home in Woodland Hills, California, that ended with the mom of 2 fatally stabbing Jalen, according to LAPD. Police tell the Times that evidence suggests the 34-year-old tried to drag her boyfriend's body out of the complex, leaving a trail of bloody footprints behind her. However, Danielle, who described herself as a Reiki master teacher as well as an R&B artist, then brought the body back into the family's kitchen, where it was later found by a neighbor. Taking her 2 daughters, one 9 years old and the other 8 months old, Danielle then allegedly fled the scene in her Porsche, eventually throwing her older daughter, who was holding her baby sister in her arms, out of the car while driving more than 100 miles per hour, police say. While the infant sadly died, the 9-year-old survived the fall and was transported to the hospital for minor injuries. Less than an hour later, local Redondo Beach police responded to reports that Danielle's speeding car had crashed into a tree, and she was pronounced dead at the scene. Both Danielle and her boyfriend's causes of death are listed as deferred, according to LA County coroner records viewed by E! News. Days prior to the tragic events unfolding, the astrology influencer spoke out about the impending eclipse on social media, something that investigators tell the Times may be connected to the alleged killings. Writing in a series of posts to her 100,000 followers on X last week, "This eclipse is the epitome of spiritual warfare. Wake up, the apocalypse is here. Everyone who has ears, listen. Your time to choose what you believe is now. The investigation is still ongoing." E! News has reached out to the Woodland Hills and Redondo Beach police, but has not yet received any comments on the case.
The bonus of the apostles and elders, great millstone, peace, citation, hope for elect, shalom. And I'm gonna title this lesson, 2 black women committed fatal crimes during the solar eclipse. So the solar eclipse was pretty much about like a week ago on April 8th. And, a week and a few days, a day or so. But what I want to get out of it is the fact that how it's 2 nigger women, right? Mostly from, of course, the Southern Kingdom. I'm not sure which tribe, but the fact of the matter is that, these so-called black women, they're fucking demons. And that's the reason why, Apostle Tahar, he will always say, at all costs to stay away from the black woman. But, of course, every man in his choice of woman is going to be on that particular man. But, it's just pretty much, advice coming from the brotherhood. And at the same time, it's like everybody has a different walk. Some brothers may get along with certain black women than other brothers, But the fact that matters that the oppression is higher upon the Southern Kingdom, so the curses is heavier. And in this case, the first video that I pretty much presented was this other black woman that was 22 years old that committed that fatal crime where luckily she didn't kill nobody, but she got 2 people injured. You know, one guy got shot in his arm, the bullet grazed his arm, said in the article, and then there was one guy who got shot in the neck, you know, as they brought out in the news clip. And she was from Georgia driving up to in Florida on the highway, you know, doing these things and claiming that God sent her. And we all know that the God to these women is Satan, you know, the spiritual demon Satan, and also the so-called white man, which is the physical counterpart of the spiritual demon Satan. That's the God to the so-called black woman, and just to the nation of our women in general, because they're not down with the ways of how a woman is supposed to be. They're not down with serving their man, allowing their man to have multiple women, you know, cooking and cleaning and being a female servant. These are the same type of bitches that believe that they deserve to have one man their whole life, right? They feel as though they're equal or they're superior to men. They practice all type of witchcraft, such as astrology and, you know, tarot card reading and things of that nature. And the first bitch that I presented, you know, that committed that fatal crime of doing that highway shooting at different cars, just randomly shooting at different cars, she definitely had a demon on her. And you could tell even by her look itself. She got the dreadlocks in her hair, so she already had a dark countenance. Now the other bitch, which is Danielle Johnson, yeah, she pretty much committed a fatal crime in killing her boyfriend, and then the daughter, which one daughter survived, which is the oldest daughter, but the youngest one, the infant, died. And she tried to push them off on the highway. You know, I tell you, man, like, and this all happened during the eclipse. You know, and I had a feeling like one time when I took my moms out on the and along with my other siblings too, because it was a plan to pretty much you know, take her out on her, you know, curse day, which is, you know, her birthday. So what had happened was you know, we was talking a little bit, chopping it up about certain things, and I remember my older sister was saying about, you know, because they were gonna think about pushing the CERN with the hydraulic accelerator, you know, that machine, you know, to try to open up portals, that they were gonna do that during the eclipse. And that was pretty much rumored because, you know, it turns out they didn't do it, or so, as one article leaked out about, you know, CERN was about to do it, but then it said there's another article that popped up saying that it wasn't going to do it. So, but either way, it's like, one thing about certain signs that happen, like scriptures say that how the heathens are dismayed by it, and even 2/3 of our people that practice the ways of the heathens by doing that astrology shit, you know, or whatever witchcraft that they pretty much do, you know, they may end up doing crazy shit like this, like killing certain family members, or, you know, doing all type of crazy sacrifices during times like this, where you see signs in the moons or in the stars or in the skies. But at one point my sister was saying was that some crazy shit gonna go down, and she was already, my older sister was talking about it, and I had a feeling, you know, about that as well, because she was trying to say like, oh, you know, she's not going to work on that particular day, and I felt like that too, in a sense. I was like, I wasn't going to work either, you know, because I had a feeling what she was saying was right, because I was thinking that CERN was going to really push that hydraulic you know, accelerator, you know. So it's not like I was scheduled to work that particular day anyway, but there's another job that I had for substitute teaching where I could schedule the days that I want to work, and I definitely did not want to schedule for that particular day. But of course, if I had to work a certain day, like at my other job, if they put me into work that day, I would have just worked that day and just went straight to work to home. So yeah. But anyways, let me just bring out scripture a little while and make this lesson edifying. It says in Ecclesiastes chapter 7 verse 26, and I find more bitter than death the woman whose heart is snares and nets, and her hands as bands. Whoso pleaseth Yahweh shall escape from her, but the sinner shall be taken by her. Right. So with that being said, the sinner is gonna be whatever nigga that's dealing with that wicked woman. Live a life of scamming people. And that a lot of times, like when you find like a lot of pretty women like that these niggas get that live that fast life, that fast life of scamming, pretty much running all type of frauds that deal with stealing people's identity and pretty much taking out loans in their names and things of that nature. That lifestyle comes with a lot of consequences, and it may seem good right now. It may seem like you filling your belly, but eventually you're gonna have to vomit back everything that you consumed in wickedness. So, and that's something that Jake don't really understand. It's like you're spiritually writing a check that your ass is not going to be able to cash out. That nigga that died by that bitch Danielle Johnson, that was pretty much a spirit created for vengeance, and on top of that, the Most High ordained that anyway, because more than likely he was a wicked nigga. So that's pretty much what had happened. And then the fact that she was an astrologer was already enough evidence to show you that was already a big ass red flag. Anyhow, you have a woman that's into that, magic art shit, she's a demon, and I mean, shit, if you want a little pleasure, then just, do what you gotta do, and just try to stay away from her as much as possible afterwards, just beat it and then, just skeet. But you see, when it's coming to niggas, it's like they get attached to things, and then eventually, it turns out that same bitch that you was attached to, she ended up doing some crazy shit. Because scriptures say that how 1 Timothy chapter 5, how some have to turn aside to Satan, talking about, our nation of our women, the wicked ones amongst them, that they all following after the ways of Satan. And this is the book of Sirach chapter 25. Let me bring out, let's see, verse 13. Give me any plague but the plague of the heart, and any wickedness but the wickedness of a woman. And the thing about woman nature that a lot of men don't really understand is that women are more emotional than men. So that being said, men are usually more logical than women. So if you feel like doing wickedness, if it feels good for the moment, as a guy, how much more a woman feels like that, you know what I'm saying? Especially in this satanic driven society that where all they push about is about your feelings and how you feel for the moment, not about how you will feel later on, about certain things that you do right now. You know what I mean? And women are basically overgrown children, because the same method applies with children. Like children, they may feel upset at you because of how you was strict with them at the meantime, because they don't understand until they grow up and they start experiencing the consequences eventually, even at a young age. Then they gonna understand it on why their parents did XYZ, or why a particular guardian or so that was watching over them didn't want them to do XYZ and scolded them at doing XYZ, or pretty much like punish them. You know what I'm saying? Because usually a lot of times, like when kids do whatever the hell they want and now they get the consequences, by the law enforcement and end up in juvie, you already know that they start to understand, like they wish they had somebody that was guiding them, that told them not to do those things that was on them. As our scriptures say, that how a righteous man will love, he will rejoice when you rebuke him or so, like, the scriptures say that open rebuke is better than secret love. And let me just jump down to verse 17. It says, please take Yasharahla 25. It says, the wickedness of a woman changeth her face, and darkeneth her countenance like sackcloth. And verse 19. All wickedness is but little to the wickedness of a woman, but the portion of a sinner fall upon her. Right. So even when you have niggas that do, wickedness too, of course, that main purpose of them doing wickedness is to gain the attraction and the affectionate of, woman, of their love. Basically, they increase their wickedness for the purpose of getting women. And it's another good one. I might just make this lesson short and just end it on this verse. It says, Jeremiah chapter 16 verse 2, it says, well, let me start with verse 1. It says, the word of the Lord came also unto me, saying, thou shalt not take thee a wife, neither shalt thou have sons or daughters in this place. Right. So that goes to show you right there that it's just best to not even, deal with these women. And some brothers are really on that path too. Some are on it unwillingly, some are on it like willingly to, Isaiah 4:1, or at least maybe that happens, or at least, till the kingdom comes, And that's honestly a beautiful spirit that some brothers, will be on that type of timing. Because right now, the most important thing is really pushing this truth and not trying to build a family, especially in these times where you got all type of satanic, influences going on, and at the same time, it's like these women are just effed up in the head. They only want to date certain men with a certain income. And it's like, at this point, if you have a hard time getting women, or maybe a hard time keeping women in your life, like in a relationship or so, that's pretty much a blessing itself. And it really doesn't have nothing to do with looks. It's mostly about, your status and pretty much your financial rank and your social status as well. That those could be the reasons why, woman probably might be ducking you, but at the same time, it's like, it's pretty much a blessing, because the way these women are right now, they're effed up in the head. They don't know their purpose, and they really don't understand the wickedness that they do. And Esau gives them too much power that they can't even handle it themselves. And actually, I'm gonna bring out this verse right here, because got me going through the spirit. It says in the book of Yasharahla chapter 26 verse 10, if thy daughter be shameless, keep her in straitly, lest she abuse herself through overmuch liberty. So yeah, a lot of these women are in that power seat set up by the devil Esau. And what he does is that he gives these women a lot of power. He allows them to go on social media, have a certain following, and who knows if one of her followers enticed her to do that shit. You know what I mean? Because a lot of the time, some people do the most craziest shit for a fan base, you know what I'm saying? For a certain amount of views, for a certain amount of followers, people do the craziest, the most unthinkable shit of all time. You know, there's a lot of demons that come with clout chasing. You know what I'm saying? And this is talking about a daughter, you know, being kept straightly, you know, from a young age, so that she could basically grow up and appreciate it, that she didn't succumb to those, you know, urges to do what the hell she want to do, or that, you know, she wasn't like basically groomed that way from a young age to be that wicked, you know, and having the liberty to do so as well. And this is why during the time of the woman's lib, you know, the legitimacy rates went up, where, you know, fathers had to leave the homes because of the mother. And eventually now you have it to where a lot of single parent households are mostly led by mothers, and they hardly could have any control over their daughters because there's no man presence in the house. And at the same time, you know, single mother household that's led by a single mother, of course, she's gonna be bringing all type of different partners in the house, all type of different men. She may even try being a lesbian herself to see if it works out for her. She's gonna just do anything that makes her feel good for the meantime, and then teach her daughter to do the same shit as well. Or maybe if she has some type of sense, she'll at least say, you know, at least go by do as I say, but not as I do. But at the same time, scriptures talk about, you know, like mother as daughter. So whatever the daughter see you do, she's gonna basically do the same thing. The scriptures also talk about that how the younger woman is supposed to be taught by the older woman on how to be a woman. They're not supposed to be taught on how to be a bitch. And one more point before I, you know, end this lesson, I just also want to mention that another thing too is like when a woman claims that she's spiritual as well, when she talk about how, you know, she's spiritual, that's a key word showing you that how she's a witch. You know, that's a big red flag right there. You know, because majority of the times, you best believe if they say they're spiritual, they smoke weed, you know, they probably into that dreadlock shit. And then they also into, you know, lighting candles and basically tarot card reading. There's nothing wrong with lighting candles, it's just how you do it. And of course, the majority of the times when women do those things that practice black magic, or so, they're doing it for an evil purpose. You know, practicing like hoodoo or voodoo, whatever the case is. But here, with that, who am I lesson edifying to give all glory, praise, honor to Adonai, Yahweh, Bashem, Shamalak, Yasharahla, Bashem, Kakadash, Double honor to Apostle Elsbury, Millstone, peace, sensation, all that. Shalom.